I'm going to see if this works for another consecutive round of podcasting. I literally bought this, for details, I bought this recorder a while back. I was looking at some of the stuff in Staples. Not really what I'm looking for. Right, not really what I'm looking for. A lot of stuff in Staples, not the material. And the material is kind of, well, it's good. It's just, it doesn't have any of the chargers and stuff I'm looking for. And I don't really understand how to use any of this stuff, right? Right, a lot of things don't mean anything unless you understand the context of something. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm just here to talk about why commercialism is a very it's funny. I'm just here to reiterate some of my old points about commercialism being a shitstorm. If you start shitstorms, that's where the money goes, right? Productive shitstorms, they don't go because no one wants to work, right? We live in a procrastinatory universe, so it's only a given once you move people, they start attacking and overreacting. Ever tried getting a kid to clean up his own room? 5 years old, it's pretty much what it's like in the corporate world. So no one wants to do it. No one wants to do it. Everyone's immature. If you ever seen some of the immaturity in the office, I've seen it too. Actually, I've heard scary stories. The CEOs belong in either. I don't like being that guy. They either belong in Goosebumps or Creepypasta, right? They are a chapter. They're a cover image. Ever seen a supervillain? You ever seen any two CEOs? High tech power. They just always try to throw stones. They might actually bring stones and throw it at each other. I'm not really sure. That's why, they don't say they throw stones because they're paying. What they say instead is, that CEO is very boisterous. You can't say they actually brought a machete to the room, right? That's not the right way to talk to a CEO. We all know that. So you're advertising and starting shitstorms, you have to be willing to go through that. It's my money! It's the same for presidential elections, like Donald Trump, Joe Biden. They're all like that. I'm gonna go throw some lightning, right, up your butt. Right, before a meeting, you see some weird thunderstorms, right, if they're famous. You know it's true. You see some tornadoes? Where does that tornado come from? You can't say it out loud. You know what the rule is. Whoever's honest gets bothered the most. The honest guy's the useful one. The game is don't talk about it directly. Yeah, they don't talk about it. It's like, oh, look at that rain cloud. It looks sad. Right, whenever there's a breakup and you know that chick has some weird powers, but you can't prove it. There's something really supernatural about that CEO. Oh yeah, she might be a water god. You're not sure. You saw a poster a while back. It's true. You're an employee. There's a reason why I quit working for that company. It was not worth the money. Not worth dealing with some snakes, because you saw some actual snakes crawl in the office, right? It feels like some Mesopotamia guy, you're like, nope, I didn't see that. You're not supposed to say that, because then everyone's going to think you're useful. People like honest people. They don't like dishonest people. Don't have to do anything. That's why you don't say the truth. You say, those are some nice water snakes. You don't say that, okay? What you say instead is, that CEO had a bad day. He had a moody day. I'm thinking if you're useful, it's like, well, that CEO could be useful if you give her the right sales proposal for Democrats or Republicans. You don't think that because you're too terrified to even meet up with them. You're too terrified to meet up with anyone. How do you use them or yourself to help yourself? It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. You gotta wade into those shitstorms. The less shitstorms the guy that's saying you wades into, the less he makes, but the more comfortable your life is, right? And you still get the same salary. It's the game of The Office. Right? You get paid the same anyways, right? Why care? They all want to do this. It just doesn't help you to move up, though. Right? Some prostitutes, they slept their way, very quickly find out their salary is capped. And there's bombs, of course. Now, you can only sleep your way to the top to some extent. Even if you're a CEO and you slept your way because you blackmail people, your company can only expand so much because they know you too well. They just pretend they don't. How do people know? Oh, they know. Someone will tip them off, right? They always do. Either it's some magic hex or it's some, I guess it's magic. Or it could be some worker. You never know. Because they're all trying to get some easy side income. So you gotta know. If you're human and you're doing a malicious behavior and if you can capable of it, then other people are capable of something of that nature too. General rule of animals. Or humans. Everyone plays it. It's life. Wow, if you're talking about like if you talk about someone's boobs, right, and you don't like them, right, but they're beautiful and they have big tits, you don't say you're beautiful. Some people are like, huh, you got a nice bachelor's degree in the arts, makes you look independent. That's what some people used to do if they don't like them. They're hot and they screwed them, right, after divorce. Seem overqualified for the job, right? You know what they're actually talking about because they point. Oh, is that your bachelor's degree? They're pointing at the boobs, of course. Right? The joke is achu, right? You achu after. No, you don't do that. What are you talking about? I definitely did not make a statement about you being stupid. Nope. I talked about how qualified you are to do the job. There are people like this. They will be honest with you if you're going to be that blunt about it. After they retire. And have 10 years to ponder about it. And the funny part is it doesn't matter if you actually look beautiful or not. Right? You got a lot of muscles on you, Bill. I think someone made a joke about it. It's like, I'm a legend now. Talking about Bill Bates, of course. Yeah, it's just... People can't be honest about this. You know why. Don't look at the little snaky over there. What? Oh. China's kind of honest about this. In caveman drawings. That's the best they can do. America doesn't have that. America just has the Jonases. Gotta do a lot to get that gold. Gotta slay that dragon to get that gold, unfortunately. Easy gold comes and goes, it just doesn't stay there, unfortunately. And probably, at the very least, I think 5 to 10 years you get it, but it usually fades. Yeah, back in the manufacturing area, it kind of ended a while back. Yeah. There's nothing now. You kind of have to take some big risks, unfortunately. Or calculated risks, not big, necessarily. Right, it was never fun having a legit one. Oh well, that's okay. I'm still wondering about, and I'm thinking right now that I think of it, it's not just school, certificate programs, too, are the same thing, right? The employer can badmouth you once you give the certificate. If anyone asks, this applies to certificate programs, too. With deadlines. Yes, they do. They all do. And if you and the employer has access to your computer once you're hired by them, that's part of their contract, right? All proprietary data that you have inside and outside of your company, every product you own is now proprietary information. I think it's somewhere in the contract, I could be wrong, of the private corporation you're employed by. And the corporation, I think the corporation has shared ownership, right? Of the products you already own, because they are your parent or employer. I know it was somewhere in there a while back. You can access private government data now. You don't have to purchase their data, it's right there. Now you know what's going on. Yes, you can. And if you can't, and if you're struggling balancing a certificate course, and you're wondering, well, should you go or not if you have deadlines? That's why I'm thinking I can't do deadlines. I'm stuck with learning on my spare time, unfortunately, because I gotta play it safe. That might take me longer. There's no such thing as never. If you kiss people's butt enough, I hope I get attention. I don't know. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, 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 no. They'll badmouth you too. Oh, that's a Coursera boot camp. Oh, I don't know. They'll even block your college admissions paper. I meant too, right? You're trying to use a certificate to bump to college, and you still have that job, and you're performing badly. They will do it. Trust me. They'll have a conversation with you first. Not a direct one, indirect one. If you aren't responding to it with an honest response, bye. Now, that's a different story if I'm applying for another job. I refuse to be honest on that topic. Because it's in their interest to keep you there. I have very little incentive to tell the truth on that. Because you're trying to nickel and dime me? Well, I need to go elsewhere. I'd rather go work for another employer that nickels and dime me. Right? Everyone needs to make a living somehow. If you want to play the slavery game, well, we might as well get the wrath of the master, right? Yeah, that's kind of how life works. You really think people don't leave? Right? No one wants to move anyone up because it costs more money. What do you think's the outcome of that? Doesn't matter how fast you work. Right? That's where the quote, "you're just another number in the corporation" means. Because all they see is money. Right? Because they're not willing to pay you more to move you up, right? Right? They're not even giving you any leeway. They're not giving you a PTO, UPT. It doesn't matter. You have every incentive to lie. It doesn't matter if they found out or the guy badly. Just keep going. Right? There's no point in being nice when the incentives aren't there. Right? That's why rules are a guide mark. Anyways, yeah, if you're trying to use a certificate to bump up the school, I'm thinking there's danger too, because then the employer's like, let's play the I spread toxic venom about how much you suck at work to the college board. They do this too. They send spam. I suspect they do anyways. And they say, hey, you're not qualified to go to school. You mean they don't do that? Yes, they do. And they have more leeway if it's not your parents paying for school. Right? It's your words against theirs. That's not the world you want to live in. That's why I'm permanently shutting myself, unless it's Job Corps, of course. Then I will jump, no questions asked. Right? And my dad told me, I think my dad told me once that they don't hire people who take online classes. No doubt. That's fine. It'll just take longer. A lot of people are like that in life. There's sometimes you got no choice. You can't always play it safe. I hope someone will take a chance. That's just simply what it is. I don't care if people kick me out for having a different opinion. Sometimes you got no choice. Of course, I would like to take school's deadlines, but I, at the same time, prioritize the money I already have. I'd much rather settle than lose what I got. That's the world we live in. I thought initially, the goal was easy, right? Life changes. Then you start learning more about the consequences of pursuing that path. And then you realize you can't do it. I want it safe because my parents aren't funding anything anymore, right? I'd quit, no questions asked. I don't care how I do it. I go up to the manager, I don't care. But I got no money, so I got to really think about this. My employer's my parent. They have more power and control over this situation. They can badmouth the school board for the school board. Do they care? No. No, they don't, because they're an alumni. Think about it. Doesn't matter if you go to community, you go to school, they badmouth you either way. It's just what it is, dude. If you're bad at work, it says something. People always listen to assumption. And of course, they're going to make up an excuse for why they reject you, right? And they'll say, it's because, unfortunately, your deadline passed, right? You just make up excuses. Right? You submitted on the wrong day. Even if the paperwork's like, actually, and even then, if they process it, they'll say, we got this error again, and after you have the same error a bunch of times. And, or they'll say something else. They'll say, our records indicate you have some mental health disorder, right? Doesn't matter. Just make it fogey. Or don't even respond. That is what you do. They don't tell the truth. Yeah, so I can't play it like that. I have an employer, and I much rather prioritize the money I'm earning. Now, until my employer gives me safe word signals, like I can go to school. You can't do it. It's sad. I'm like, so when you aren't supported by your parents, you're basically a street urchin to any employer that hires you. I'm sorry. Look, if you are going to school relying on another employer, they are your parent, okay? It's not the person who houses you that's your parent. You got to grow up. You see the Walmart career fair? I'm going to tell you, that's really your only advancement. You see that R-Mark coffee pad about going to school? That's your only real future in school. People who don't think that and complain about manager, and I always thought, why are you complaining about that? You got to grow up, you guys. You want it to, this is not safe. Now, if you're willing to take that risk and that danger, I respect you. And you're willing to tell me, yeah, I know. People need to grow up. This is why I was wondering for so long why all these jobs didn't come, right? Why all these career fields aren't paying off. It's because of this. Because people don't recognize the reality that if you set a bad example for the employer you're already employed by, they will dry those jobs up for you. And complaining to HR is such a common problem, isn't it? About your manager. That means you get no job. What do you think that means when it's large scale, when everyone does it, which is a lot of people in school, right? Complaining on the manager. Suddenly, the employment numbers are fake, right? It's fake news. Suddenly, there is no economic growth. They treat you guys like trash because you treated your current employer like trash. Do you really think people don't take their time? They may not consciously do it, but do you really think they don't do that? That's why arts complain most. No job in arts. History will complain most. There's no job in history. Guys, if you're doing that and you think there's a job there and you're a history major, you need to see a psychologist. There is no job, okay? People feel offended. You do this like indirectly. You have spats with people, even directly, right? People are very offended by that. They are your wallet, okay? I'm sorry. This is why I don't like America, because they don't want to talk about money. This is from a society that refuses to talk about cash and salary. And then now you can explain away why the unemployment's there. Want to know why there's different versions of unemployment? For that same reason? Because they have different definitions. Not just that. It's because the employee, the manager, indirectly controls those definitions. Right? If you are nicer to the manager, right? There's seasons when they're nicer, right? Because they don't get terminated immediately. The unemployment rate suddenly alters, doesn't it? Huh. What a miracle. Suddenly these jobs show up again. This is just a passive-aggressive social game of complain less to HR. Suddenly you just want to talk about politics. What about office politics, you guys? We just distract ourselves from the sad reality that you make a CEO angry. They're obviously not going to help you find a job. They're going to hinder your job search. They may even be passive-aggressive enough. They may even send magic hexes your way, right? And you fail an exam. What happened, right? You hear those conversations, they translate to economic loss. Now, it's one thing if it's only a small group that does it. When everyone does it, now that translates to the geopolitical stage of no jobs, right? People, of course, outsource. Because if you complain to HR, you're too expensive, aren't you? The older generation just wanted to gaslight themselves and forget about this game. No point. Right? Oh, you have my health insurance. Okay, that's valid. I still complain about that. It didn't cost me a job for all I care. I don't like the fact that I have to pay $500 for a dental visit. Right? You're not going to move me up. I did my time. You need to at least give me a good medical insurance. This is too much of a short, in my opinion. Personal opinion, I'm okay with being paid less for good health insurance. Amazon has worker injuries. Prefer to be paid $8 if you can give me a good health insurance. I don't care. Openly talking about it. And here's the thing: we do live in that now. And that's why I think if you're poor, right, and you don't want to take loans, you basically can't move up. You're just stuck there. You have to settle. That's why I don't think money's worth it anymore. This is what prompted me to change my mind on this, because it's too late. I'm willing to do more dangerous stuff to get some side gig cash, but yeah. I want to get some side income cash because that's all I have available to me. There's no way to move to do the cheap fast food version of education, right? Also, one more thing. College is very anti. I'm going to do a podcast for a shower, but is very anti Common Core, right? See, so if you look at a lot of these college courses, right, you see how they disagree with the structure of the atom. So quantum mechanics, if you take the course, they're about quarks and leptons. Do you notice how different the atomic structure is from how high school teaches the atomic structure? It's vastly different, isn't it? They even disagree. There are a lot of signs that colleges and public schools have had spats before about like the differences between the interpretations of a concept, right? They're minor. But there's a reason why Common Core was fought against during the George Bush administration, right? And the reason why is because colleges don't have a Common Core. But no one really wanted to be honest about that. So a lot of the schools that had differing standards of what to teach English, right, or what constitutes a pass or a fail, didn't want to say it plainly because they're afraid of the truth. And the truth is, colleges are very much for profit. They're very much for profit. They don't care about what your grade is. They just care if you can do it. And everyone's prerequisite requirements for what major you head into, you obviously need to take more prereqs. They just pretend to agree on one set of prerequisites. General education. That explains why people are difficult and stuck on homework. It counts for more like 90% of the cases of people getting stuck on problems. So you notice a lot of the people who aren't stuck, they in math, they took woodshop class, they took workshop class, they took IT DigiPen classes. A lot of other people did it, so they don't struggle on any of these tough problems. Right? They read a bunch of extra books. That used to be codified. You know what the problem was back then? General education never got finished. So they shortened it. So people can get more money. No money is made if we had a true general education requirements. Take too long. So you gotta lie about it so you can process these people through the schools. That's why people are against Common Core. Because of college. College is staunchly anti-Common Core. It will never be Common Core because there is more money made when you fail students to a certain extent. To retake stuff. There's way, way more money. There is less money to be for a Common Core. Because that means you gotta make the courses short, easy. There never is. And that's why college professors, and it's an SJW, I'll be honest, you kind of have to be a Republican on this topic. There is no Common Core. You can be an SJW to tell us about justice, but you know damn well you make more money if they fail and take it again. You are a Republican. The money, your wallet, your tenure, that's what matters. That's what speaks to you. This is the sadness. And of course, you get greedier if you're a college and you want to shut down public schools, right? And you want to be like, well, why don't they waste more time by we just be your tutors, right, to help you through public school, the college profs. You know that happens. You know college profs used to do these dick fag moves. We're your friendly tutors. You're paid $100 an hour. Or you pay me $100 an hour. I'm teaching you. You know where this comes from, okay? Now you know. It's because the College Board is permanently, for all eternity, anti-Common Core. That's why there was a debate. No one wanted to be that plain about it. Because if you criticize the College Board, what if I can't get a higher paying job, Joshua Fluke style, you guys? You can't be plain about this. You can't be plain. Nope, you can't. Because they think to themselves, well, getting a degree must mean they must be for the corporation. Can't spread bad word of mouth. And then what ends up, because there's too much money and too much power in the schools, right? And plus, what ends up happening is there's no pay scale where the teachers get more pay, so they make more money with Common Core, right? Less courses, right? And that means they can keep their salary. And if they teach more, if they have an evolving core, right? They get paid the same. The government's very cheap, very harsh. They're paid way less, right, than college profs. I definitely think that there's promotions for college profs, right? So of course they're anti-Common Core. There's a lot of games in the office. You just don't talk about it openly, because then what? And the other thing that goes on in their mind is like, but wait, if I speak out openly about why, won't I not be able to get a tenure? What if I want a tenure job someday? Oh, they're thinking now. I'm not really for a core, but if I don't get Common Core and get lazy, right, and just teach the same set of principles, then I can't. Then it'll get a bad reference to my employer, the school board, the college school board. No one wants to be plain about that. They all want to bump up like that. This is why I do not like living in a society that doesn't talk about money. Because then this would have been settled already. This wouldn't even be a debate. That's the whole point of the Common Core debate. It's because certain people make more money, depending on the company, on one business mode of operation, which is Common Core, and then they don't make as much. They make way more once they switch over to the colleges, right? That's all this is. That's all it is. It's just about whether I make more money, depending on where I'm at in life. And if you look at the story, the cover story, of course, like, it's too much for kids to learn, right? Right. The schools create dumber Americans. Of course, that's the cover story. I'll tell you the truth. No one cares about that. No one cares whether the kids are dumb or smart. No one ever cares. They just look at what's in their wallet. If they cared, I'll tell you a secret. You just create a corporate slave. Bill will make you smart. He'll just send you some magic stones. You live forever. There you go. You have plenty of time to make dumbass mistakes now to become smart over time. You know that's not happening. We don't have a legitimate debate about intelligence anymore. The most important thing in intelligence is being able to learn from your mistakes and be humble and honest. How many people are like that? Oh, no, we don't actually care about the kids. We're done. Right? More smart you are, more likely you form your own business, right? Right? And if you're a business and you're a charity organization at the same time, right? Sort of. Don't the kids have a better chance of being smart? Oh, not happening. Oh, we're not talking about money. I'm America. Oh, everything is taboo now about cash. I'm offended if you think I owe you $50 like last night, Marty. Right? It starts there. Then we just waste more time, right? It is about the wallet. People who say there's no budget don't say what they mean. Politics flows to cash. When you make everything about currency, nothing gets done if you can't have an honest conversation about it. Of course schools are for Common Core. You see, when you're like trying to purchase school on your own, you gotta think about this. You can't go coast on your parents' money and just quit your job and leave. Because when you get employed by someone else, it's a liability. It is a real liability because you can't do well in school while keeping a job. Because your employer is also your parent, so it's like two parents fighting each other. This is a topic no one wants to openly discuss. Are you pro-employer? Are you pro-employer on your family, or are you pro-family? Right? Because your mom and dad may want cards against your employer. Think about it. Maybe they want to form their own business and strangle, who knows, some Safeway CEO or Bill Gates, right? I mean, maybe friends one moment, enemies the next. People thought about that back then. What helps the parent become their own corporation and challenge Microsoft? I'll tell you, the kid going full-time committing to school. You got to think about this. This is not a simple transaction anymore. Now, if it's a side gig, that's a different story. Now, if it's an employer, you got to take these other factors into account. Depending on the conditions, your employer may challenge your parent. Because what if they want to run a successful business and say F you to the corporation? You don't know. Everyone has different interests in heart, right? Everyone wants that yacht too, buddy. This is testy. That's why I got to think about this. Now, I wouldn't even bother with a job if I want to go to school. Just get some loans and leave, dude. It's risky. Anyways, that's my opinion for deadlines. I don't want to run that risk. I'd rather just stick with what I have, settle. You gotta settle. Sometimes the CEOs will take the risk and you be out of commission for a while, right? And you can help them elsewhere in life. You talk to them. Look, I will quit. I really, really want to help you later on in life. This is how you frame it. But I can't. Because I really want a different future for myself. That's who I am now. But I'm seeing nothing on the horizon that makes me want to gamble like that. Because when I look at the employment numbers, I know a lot of it now, and I think about it, is due to bad word of mouth from your previous employer, right? The retail. It could be Safeway, it could be Walmart, right? Everyone gives you really bad word of mouth, and you can't get the job. I don't see anything worth vouching quite yet. Not even tech. Tech's not quite worth vouching for me yet. Because it's difficult to learn. Now, what end up happening is, like, well, we'll get less hours. Like, there's no guarantee I can perform as well, right? You have that conversation with your employer in the moment you find something legitimate. That's what I'm willing to do now. Now, they might say, get out of my office, right? But you gotta say it. Because you know it's gonna happen. Look, I'm not moving up. That's the only time you talk about you can talk about, even remotely, about applying for another job. Alright, I'm moving out. Right? This is the only time. Otherwise, and this is the time, because they'll bring it up eventually, right? Are you thinking about searching for another? This is the time you bring it up. I want a future. Feel free to fire me. Because that is what the relationship is. Yes, I'm applying. And at this point in time, you know there's going to be an honest conversation. Where have you applied? Because, like, if you can't do school, you're obviously thinking of some sentiment. That's when it's acceptable to broach this. Then you can say, oh, I applied to these companies, and I'm really sorry. It's like, no, don't be, right? If they're smart. Even if they're bad managers or good managers, right? It's like, yeah, look, you're not going to sabotage it now. All right, let's have a dialogue. Employers that you're applying to would much rather prefer that instead of just, hey, look, I'm going to school and my work performance got bad. Now you talk about it. And how do you bring it up? And if you can't prompt them, if you really want to prompt them, you say, well, I'm working for school. I want to work for so-and-so company someday. Right? And I saw they had some really interesting administrative assistant jobs. It implies you applied for there, by the way. They know. Not everyone will do it the first time, by the way. But it's inevitable that'll be brought up. Either indirectly or directly. Most likely indirectly for a lot of safe people. And this is the moment where the manager, if they actually are aggressive, will just be there overhearing it. You say, hey, look. Now you talk about it. Applied here, and then at that point it's completely open. It's okay now. It's fine. There's no point talking about too much. I know how to broach this stuff. And you got to play it like this. You got to take more risks. If you have a parent who's funding you and they just want you to get some cash and they don't fucking care. Sorry for cussing. If they don't care, just go ahead. Just go ahead and be a dick. But just know that's in poor form. I'd rather you just quit if I was an employer. And you just tell me straight up. You say, I want to fully devote myself to school. I'm sorry I wasted your time. No one will be offended. Because people will always... life is all about making mistakes. Right? You might be really skilled at getting this job. That's fine. But things change. People change. People change their mind on a company all the time. Maybe the company operates for the first 5 days because you feel motivated. Maybe it stops functioning for the next couple months. That's how companies always start out. You think Microsoft started out like just mystically like a club? You mean the club didn't have good and bad days? We all have rainy days too. Every corporation has rainy days. Where there's no money coming in. And then there's good days where the money is flowing like river, like honey, right? And then there's days when they have to lay off workers. Look, it doesn't matter what scale or size or scope of the company is. We all have it. We're all human at the end of the day. We do view ourselves as numbers. But keep in mind, mathematics is all based on theory. Numbers is a theory too. They're just frameworks for how much money we should dole out, right? Life is always circumstantial. It always changes. It always evolves. And that is life. And we need to stop pretending like life is not in flux all the time. The universe is always in motion. So be honest. If you have a parent, that's a great blessing. Otherwise, you're going to have to take some more honest swings. You got to be honest with your employer, which if I ever go to school, I will be. If I really want to go to school, if I have something legitimate, I don't want to bring it up immediately. If it happens, I will go. And you got to converse because you got to play it the right way. If you truly believe that risk has actual return, you go. There's nothing. Because, believe it or not, a lot of degrees have vague promises, vague word, right? No one is bringing up an infomercial, which is what you need. You need a legitimate infomercial of all the actors in the supply chain. None of these fields are credible with their pay scale. Right? That you need a global supply chain of all the actors involved. Now, some people might get there, make it, right? And kudos to them. But for someone like me who wants a safe path to making money, it's not there. This is my reasoning. Right? There is a safe path, and there's nothing. Even tech has no safe path. You could be paid $8 for all you know. I'm going to give you a hint. If there's a career fair on Walmart, that's your only future. Just giving you an FYI. You're working at Walmart, there you go. It's Walmart sama, right? You gotta go there. Gotta show your booty. That is your future. Go to Revature, it's Walmart-sama. Every day, all day. There is no other path. If you aren't honest, they're not going to free you, buddy. Trust me, this is not the game you want to play. It's time to call death by electrocution, right? They don't spare anyone. That's the problem. You can't go to school doing this. It's not possible. Now, if you talk to them and say, hey, look, I went to school, and even then, it's contentious. That's why it's contentious. Because they don't know if your work performance is affected. Here's how you get out of that trap. And that's what I said earlier, right? Just to add more context. I say, hey, look, I found this. I think it's going to help me in the long run. I'd rather talk about myself first on this topic because I feel like I've stayed here, right? And I feel like I'm moving up, but I really want to take a risk. My performance is going to be affected. I'm giving you another example. And I really want to go to school. If you want to fire me, that's fine. But I'd much rather, at the same time, while helping myself, help you by providing a service. Maybe you can rehire me for some other company. And if I get enough skills, I go work for you again. It can be temp. Sorry, we're negotiating like this. I don't feel like I've been given an adequate opportunity to demonstrate my loyalty to the company, right? Or to get more money. As loyal as I am, I also need to get more money, more food in my belly, right? Whatever, this is honesty time. I'll do whatever it takes, right? Maybe the schools, and here's another way to put the job. The school might demand I might apply for other jobs. I cannot say, I won't confirm nor deny that I might have applied for other jobs. It's risky. That would be the right way to bring it up. Like, if you won't accept me, right, I may bring up other jobs, right? I may apply elsewhere. Yep. And you wait. What will the CEO say? They won't be angry. But they will talk. It's most likely indirectly. At first. Or direct. If you're that certain that the numbers are real. And you could have it evolve another way, which I might do. Here, I don't know if these numbers are real. This is another way to bring it up. I don't know if these employment numbers for this job are real. Can you tell me? I know employers give bad word of mouth that your performance is bad, right? And they complain. A lot of these people are working part-time. You want to have a normal conversation. That is when you can bring up the job. It transfers the are you applying elsewhere? It's not a stretch. Right? Hey, here's these actuarial science numbers. Are these real employment numbers? Like, I know there's a lot of these people that work in retail. They complain, right? This is the right way to bring it up. That I know of. I don't know which specific employee. And they spread bad word of mouth. And what they do is say, hey, don't hire this guy because he sucks at my job, right? He's not transparent with me with what's going on in his life. You don't even have to say to go that far. Then what happens? Does that affect whether they get a job or not? And does this affect the employment numbers? What do you think? If you're friendly enough with the lead, right? You ask. You know what they're going to say? Yeah, probably. Trust me, there are jobs. And you ask. This is how you figure out stuff. This is how you figure out it's fake news everywhere. Do not say are these employment numbers real or fake. Start proposing theories, suggestions. And trust me, people give a lot of signs. Because now you know specifically what you're talking about. Because it's interesting. They ponder about it. And a lot of these people, you'll see a lot of weird people start walking into the office. And I'm like, that sounds about right. Keep doing it. You're helping them too. Because they may want to escape. You never know. Oh, what's that? You mean there's a lot of suspicious actors? more suspicious it looks, if you see nothing, just normal people, that's fine. But more suspicious it looks, the more likely there's a lot of BS in that data. In the Bureau of Statistics of Employment, right? In the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And now, why would they report the unemployment numbers as real, pretend it's real? I'll tell you why. Because schools make more money that way. And so too do the small business that employ them. Because think about it. Who do they report to? Who do you think are the key indicator who report to the U.S. government? If they can make the employment numbers look a certain way, don't they get tax breaks or something? There you go. You know what the game is now. Okay, I'll stop talking now.